While handing out flyers near the campus strip mall, I caught a glimpse of my girlfriend, Bryn, tangled up in the passenger seat of a Ferrari, half-dressed and making out with Jace, the school's golden boy. I tapped on the window. Jace glanced at me and asked, "Who's that?" Bryn curled into his arms and said with a smirk, "Just some loser who's been chasing me. Say the word and I'll dump him right now." She kissed him again, didn't spare me a glance, and slipped out of the car like I never existed. Jace licked the lip Bryn had just kissed and sneered, "Go home, man. A beauty like her belongs to the strong." I stared at him and said, "I don't care about the girl. What I want to know is, why the hell are you in my car?" The air stiffened like a jammed gear. His hands froze on the steering wheel. "What are you talking about?" "This is my car," I said calmly. I reached into the glove box, pulled out the registration, and held it up. "See this? My name's on it. So tell me, what are you doing in it? Stealing it? Should I call the cops?" His face flushed crimson. In an instant, he scrambled out of the driver's seat, shuffled over to me, and hissed, "Please don't call the police. My dad owns a body shop." I saw the car, thought it looked nice, figured I'd take it for a spin. I swear, I didn't mean anything by it. "Please, man. Don't report me." I blinked, then raised my voice. "Take it for a spin? Are you hearing yourself? That's not borrowing. That's stealing. Since when does owning a repair shop mean you can joyride in a customer's car?" Jace hung his head like a scolded child. "I'm sorry." I sighed. "Save it. I'm checking the car for damage first." He stayed silent, lips pressed into a tight line. I popped the hood and immediately spotted it. The damn engine cover was cracked straight through. "What the hell happened?" I snapped. Jace panicked. "It wasn't me. I swear. It was your girlfriend. She insisted on sitting on the hood to take selfies. She was posting all these racy pics on Instagram. I've got proof." I opened my phone and scrolled. Nothing. He rushed to show me his. Sure enough, Bryn had blocked me. There she was, in photo after photo, sprawled across the hood like it was a modeling shoot. Legs crossed, top riding high, hashtags and filters galore. "Damn," I muttered, dryly. She really went for it. "Alright, save those pics. You two are about to get served." Jace stared at me, stunned. "Wait, what? Like, with papers?" "Yeah," I said. "These'll make lovely exhibits. You'll be hearing from my lawyer." His jaw dropped. Is it gonna be a lot?" I shrugged. "I'd say somewhere in the ballpark of $100,000. Maybe more." All the color drained from his face. But it was her," he sputtered. "She's the one who broke it. Why do I have to pay?" I rolled my eyes. "Ever heard of joint liability? You were in possession of the vehicle. You let it happen. Congrats, your dad just worked a whole year for nothing." Jace, this tall, jock-built guy who usually strutted around campus like he owned it, broke down in tears right in front of me. "That idiot girl," he sobbed. "I told her it was carbon fiber. That's high-end supercar material, lightweight, sure, but it can't take any weight. She climbed on the hood before the engine was even warm, just to take those damn selfies. And crack, there goes the panel. My parents worked their asses off, and she just wrecked everything." I slid into the driver's seat, fed up. I called for an assessor to come check the damage. I had zero interest in watching a grown man cry over his own stupidity. Jace wiped his face with the back of his hand, still blubbering. But why are you the rich one? She told me you were just some guy handing out flyers for pocket change." I glanced at him, expression flat. "Yeah, I hand out flyers. So what? Then I added, those stores I'm advertising? They're mine. I wasn't lying. Every one of the 72 shops lining the college strip belonged to my family. The entire street, cafes, boutiques, bakeries, salons, was part of our real estate portfolio. I hand out flyers for my own properties. What's wrong with that? I rolled up the window. I'd heard enough of Jace's sniveling for one day. Just then, a text from Bryn lit up my phone. Mason, since you've seen everything, let's just break up. Don't blame me, blame yourself. You're poor, and you'll never give me the life I want. I don't want to spend my life in your shadow, living paycheck to paycheck. I want to be happy in a Ferrari, not clinging to the back of your bicycle, grinding through life. I stared at the screen, expressionless. It was, almost funny. The Ferrari and the bicycle? Both mine. So tell me, should she be crying right now or laughing? I started typing, hope your mailbox is ready, for a lawsuit. But before I could hit send, the message failed to deliver. She'd blocked me. Seriously? She blocked me? She owed me at least $100,000 in damages, and she had the nerve to block me? Screw this. I didn't care if I was standing outside the women's dorm. I stormed in and headed straight for her room. It was mid-morning. Quiet. Barely anyone around. I reached her door, raised my hand, and was just about to knock. Just as I raised my hand to knock, I heard voices coming from inside. A woman asked excitedly, wait, did you really do what I told you to? Then Bryn's voice, yeah. I told him I was on birth control. There was a sharp intake of breath, then the woman all but squealed, perfect. I knew you were ovulating around now. That's why I told you to set up the date. If this works and you get pregnant, you're locking down that rich boy life for good. Bryn sounded hesitant. But, what if he denies the baby? The woman replied confidently, girl, please. Once you're pregnant, I've got a dozen ways to make him claim it. You dumped your boyfriend for this, he tries to walk away, he's finished. I stood there, stunned. Bryn wasn't just cheating. She was scheming. Calculating. She lied about birth control. She was trying to trap Jace with a baby. She actually wanted to marry him? Unbelievable. I wondered how long that plan would last once she realized Jace had stolen my car. Yeah, can't wait to see her face when she finds that out. I knocked on Bryn's door. She opened it, took one look at me, and immediately scowled. Seriously? We broke up. What the hell are you doing here? Look, it's one thing to be poor, but being poor and clingy? That's just pathetic. Chasing after a girl who's already moved on, do you have no shame? She thought I was here to win her back. That's rich. There were 2 other girls in the dorm, her roommates. I recognized them both. Before I could say a word, one of them chimed in. Can you not stand in the way of Bryn finding her happiness? I just stood there, momentarily stunned. So, hooking up with another guy in my car counted as pursuing happiness now? The roommate who spoke was Kayla, Bryn's closest friend. And, surprise surprise, the same one I'd overheard coaching her through that whole pregnancy trap just minutes ago. Back when Bryn and I first started dating, Kayla used to throw shade constantly. Stuff like, a man's love is measured by how much he's willing to spend on a woman. Real pearls of wisdom. And I'd listened. I'd bought Bryn gifts. A lot of them. Now, I was here to take every last one of them back. I said, fine, we're done. But that phone you're using? I paid for it. I'd like it back. I didn't mention the Ferrari. Not yet. Knowing Bryn, she'd probably latch onto me again just to keep the perks. First things first, I was here to reclaim what was mine. Her face tightened, brows furrowing in contempt. Wow, Mason. I didn't realize you were this petty. Do you ever stop to think about how I feel? That hit a nerve. Not because it hurt, because it was disgusting. You cheat. You lie. You humiliate me in public. And I'm supposed to care about your feelings? Before I could respond, Kayla burst into a smug little giggle, hand over her mouth like she just cracked the world's funniest joke. Can't you see what this broke loser is doing? She said. He doesn't care about the phone, he's just trying to guilt you. He doesn't want to let you go. Bryn's eyes narrowed, her lips curling into a smirk. So that's it. You thought if I felt bad enough, I'd keep the phone, and that'd give you an excuse to hang around, huh? Please. Did you forget? My new man's loaded. Bryn lifted her chin with theatrical pride, radiating smug satisfaction. Kayla, ever the enabler, jumped in with a gleam in her eye. Don't waver, girl. I just looked it up, Jace's Ferrari costs a few $1 million. Giving you a new phone? That's like tossing spare change. Bryn chuckled, eyes glinting. Fine. You want the phone back? I'll give it to you, right after I make one last call. I want you to understand exactly why I dumped you. The gap between you and a real man? You'll never bridge it, not in this lifetime. I raised a brow. Was she seriously talking about Jace? Jace, whose dad, Ray, literally sighed and complained to me last week about how hard business had been lately, and how they were struggling just to make rent. But Bryn was already dialing. Kayla leaned in, excited. Put it on speaker. Let him hear what real money sounds like. Bryn nodded with a smile, clearly enjoying the performance. She tapped the screen, and the line went live. The moment the call connected, Bryn put on her best damsel-in-distress voice. Baby, she whined, my ex is here. He's breaking up with me and demanding I give back the phone. Without it, how am I supposed to stay in touch with you? For a second, she paused, expecting comfort. But Jace didn't bite. What came through the speaker was a furious roar. You crazy bitch. Don't ever let me see your face again. If I do, I swear, I'll beat the hell out of you. The line went dead. The room froze. Bryn's face drained of color as she stared at the phone in stunned silence. Kayla looked just as stunned, but she recovered fast. Too fast. Her face twisted with rage as she snatched a heavy book off her bed and hurled it at me. You told someone something, didn't you? You went downstairs and trashed Bryn's name. Bryn snapped back to life, trembling with fury. Yeah. Just a few minutes ago, he was still sweet to me, you must have told someone lies about me. You're such a freak. You're disgusting. I sidestepped the book with ease. You done? I said coolly. Give me back my stuff. Bryn exploded. If you didn't badmouth me, then why would he suddenly flip like that? I let out a short, sharp laugh. Let's be honest, Jace had a right to be pissed. Because of Bryn climbing all over the hood for her thirst trap selfies, he was now facing over $100 grand in damages. With the kind of money his family barely scraped together? Yeah, no wonder he snapped. Kayla scoffed, arms crossed, voice dripping with contempt. See? That's why I told her to go for it with Jace. I saw right through you from day one, sneaky little coward, always playing dirty behind people's backs. It's pathetic. I looked at her, deadpan. So what you're saying is, you helped her cheat on me? Kayla rolled her eyes like I was the idiot here. Cheating? That's what you call it? Please. My best friend was drowning, and I pulled her out. You think I was gonna let her sink into a life married to you? She'll thank me for this for the rest of her life. Bryn was clearly over the drama. Her patience was wearing thin. She crossed her arms and said coldly, You want the phone? Fine. But on one condition, you go find Jace and apologize. Admit you lied. Tell him it was all a misunderstanding. Kayla jumped in like a loyal attack dog. Yeah. Even if you have to get on your knees, you owe my girl her dignity. I took the phone from Bryn's hand, calm as ever. And why would I apologize for something I didn't do? I said, voice cool but sharp. Also, don't flatter yourselves. We're not done here. You still owe me. I walked straight into the room and sat down at Bryn's desk, calm as ever. Time to settle accounts. Every gift, every transfer, every dollar I'd spent since we started dating, I was done letting it slide. I wanted it all back. Bryn watched me in disbelief. Really? My friends are here. We used to love each other. You seriously want to humiliate me like this? I ignored her. My fingers tapped away, tallying everything. Then, click. Kayla snapped a photo of me. She sneered, waving her phone like a weapon. I've never met a more pathetic, shameless guy in my life. I'm posting this on Instagram right now. Let everyone on campus see what a loser you really are. I thought she was bluffing. She wasn't. I pulled out my own phone, checked her account, and there it was. A photo of me, sitting at the desk. Captioned. OMG. PSA, never date broke guys. The less money they have, the more drama they bring. My bestie's been stalked by this creep, totally unhinged. I frowned. So this is what it comes down to? This isn't even between you and me, why are you making it about poor and rich? You might as well tattoo gold digger on your forehead. Kayla shot back without hesitation. Yeah. And what if I am? At least I'm honest about it. You think you have any right to judge me? If you were rich, you'd be the one standing here lecturing me, not the other way around. But look at you, do you even own a mirror? Kayla was on a roll now, practically shaking with self-righteous fury. She stormed over to the window, jabbing a finger toward the parking lot below. You want to know the difference? She shouted. A real man drives a Ferrari worth millions. He's thinking about business, success, the future. And this loser? He's sitting here with a calculator, making the girl who once loved him want to puke. At that moment, another voice finally broke through the chaos. Bryn, one of the roommates said cautiously, maybe you should just give the money back. Honestly, you were the one in the wrong here. Bryn's entire expression shifted, her eyes went cold. Excuse me, she snapped. You're taking his side? Kayla immediately jumped in to defend her friend, eyes narrowing with venom. Oh, it's obvious what this is. You're just bitter. Bryn found herself a rich guy with a Ferrari, and you're jealous. So now you're trying to tear her down. The girl's cheeks turned red. That's not true. Don't twist my words, I'm just saying what's fair. I recognized her. Her name was June. She was one of the school's scholarship students, quiet, respectful, and clearly out of place in this drama hurricane. I remembered her because of one thing. Months ago, when Bryn was on her usual flexing spree and insisted I buy desserts for her whole dorm, June was the only one who turned it down. She had said, I didn't earn it. I don't take what I didn't work for. That stuck with me. Because it said everything about who she was, and who I was surrounded by. Bryn let out a dramatic sigh and looked at June with condescension dripping from her voice. June, she said, I know you come from, well, not much. Loans, scholarships, all that. I get why you might resent people with money. But you know what? Being a decent person matters more than your GPA. June blinked, stunned. Are you saying I'm not a decent person? I stood there frozen. Was this real? June, who worked harder than anyone I knew, who kept her head down, aced her classes, and never asked for anything. And Bryn? Bryn, who just an hour ago was making out with another guy in my car while I was handing out flyers. And she had the nerve to say June wasn't decent? What kind of twisted logic was that? Kayla let out a venomous laugh. Oh, I know your type. Poor, bitter, desperate. You saw he's single now, figured maybe if you act all virtuous, you could win him over. But deep down, you know you'll never touch a man who drives a Ferrari. So you're trying to lock down even this bottom tier one before it's too late. June clenched her fists, shaking with anger as she stood up. I work as a private tutor. I make $1,500 a month. I earn my life. Kayla let out a cruel little snort. You're the type who thinks crumbs count as a feast, she spat. I saw you yesterday, eating food someone else left on the table. No wonder you'll take any guy who gives you the time of day. June's eyes immediately filled with tears, her voice shaking. It was on the table, she said, barely above a whisper. Not the floor. That doesn't make me pathetic. Enough. Bryn's shout cracked through the room like a whip. She slammed her phone onto the desk and turned to me, her eyes blazing. You've humiliated me enough. You are such an embarrassment. Dating you is the biggest regret of my life. Just tally up the numbers and get out. I'm going to go explain all of this to my new boyfriend. Kayla jumped in instantly. Don't worry, Bryn. I'll go with you. Once you tell him the truth, all those rumors will fall apart. You'll still be his little princess. I'd officially tuned them out. Let the clowns perform. I focused on the spreadsheet in front of me, calculating the numbers carefully, because I wasn't about to get gaslit out of what I'd spent. I didn't include the damage to the Ferrari, of course. Too risky. If Bryn thought that much was on the line, she might actually try to crawl back into my life. After double-checking everything, I leaned back in the chair, numb. We'd dated for 1 year. Between gifts, cash transfers, and all the little treats I'd paid for. $38,000. I stared at the total, stunned. I lived off a few $100 a month. And I'd somehow spent this much? On her? And she still had the gall to say I never gave her enough? Even Bryn and Kayla stopped talking. They leaned in, looked at the numbers, and went silent. Because for all their big talk, they were still college girls. And 38 grand wasn't some throwaway amount. They did the math. Twice. Then a third time. And for the first time all morning, they had nothing to say. Bryn hesitated, her voice suddenly less defiant. 38 grand. I don't have that kind of money right now. Kayla immediately stepped in, alarmed. Don't panic. I'll help you. Look, how you handle this guy is exactly how Jace will judge you. If you want a future with him, you need to cut this loser off completely. I don't care if we have to borrow from shady lenders, we're paying him back. No ties. No guilt. Just a clean break so you can marry rich. Bryn wavered. Then, slowly, she nodded. Okay. We'll figure something out. This can't get back to my parents. If they found out I owed this much money, they'd literally kill me. I didn't even know how to respond to that. If $38,000 was enough to get her killed. What was gonna happen when the six-figure repair bill for the Ferrari showed up at their door? Turn her to ashes and scatter her in the wind? Bryn and Kayla immediately got to work, phones out, fingers flying. And what shocked me wasn't that they were asking for money. It was how easy it was for them to get it. Call after call, text after text, people sent money without question. Bryn was stunned. Wow. I must be really well liked. Everyone's lending me cash without even asking why. Kayla beamed. It's the selfies, babe. You're out here posting shots in $1 million Ferrari. Everyone thinks you're about to marry into money. What's a couple grand to be part of that story? Bryn's eyes lit up with realization. Oh, that makes sense. Bryn shot me a smug glance. See that? She said. That's what real attraction looks like. The kind that makes people want to be near you, lend you money, just to brush shoulders with someone dating a powerful man. If I were still with you, who'd help me in a crisis? Kayla added with a sneer, crisis? Being with you is the crisis. Everything else is just aftershock. They kept making calls, collecting transfers, charming money out of everyone like it was a party game. Eventually, they scraped together $18,000. Still short by 20 grand. Kayla bit her lip, then said, I know a guy. Gang affiliated. He can lend us the rest, but, if we can't pay it back, we're screwed. Bryn looked uneasy. What do you mean, screwed? Kayla shrugged, brushing it off. Doesn't matter. Your new man's rich, right? 20 grand's pocket change to him. Within minutes, she was on the phone, talking fast, pacing. The guy on the other end didn't even hesitate, looked like he was a pro, maybe some kind of underground lender. The money showed up. Just like that, they had the full amount. Bryn shoved the cash into an envelope and threw my phone at me, hard. It bounced off my chest. There, she snapped. You got your damn money. Happy now? Get lost. I never want to see your face again. I caught the phone, tucked the envelope away, and nodded. Then I turned to June. Come with me, I said. June looked at me, startled, clearly unsure why I'd called her out. Kayla didn't miss a beat. Told you they had something going on, she snorted. The second you got your money, they're already skipping off together. I sighed. Truth was, I wasn't even sure this would work. The only reason I needed June was because she worked in the student council, specifically with alumni records. She had access to addresses and emergency contacts. Nothing official, but more than anyone else could get on short notice. And if I wanted to have the court send a subpoena to Bryn's family, I needed that address. I knew it was a lot to ask. I wasn't proud of it. But right now, I had no other option. June's face flushed bright red. She dropped her gaze and quietly followed me out the door. Behind us, Kayla hurled another insult across the room. Of course she followed you. What else would you expect from someone so desperate she'd take the trash Bryn threw away? June's voice cracked. I'm not like that. I don't have feelings for him. But Kayla was relentless. Keep pretending. Keep acting innocent. That's why your family's poor, bad genes. You're out here licking the boots of a guy who hands out flyers for a living. Bryn crossed her arms, face twisted in scorn. Honestly? I'm so glad I dumped you. That kind of loser energy? She can have it. I didn't say a word. I just led June out into the hallway, away from the circus, the noise, and the toxic smog of entitlement. As soon as we stepped into the hallway, June spoke softly, eyes still downcast. I only said something back there because I couldn't take it anymore. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm not like what they said. I just want to focus on school. I gave her a small nod. Yeah, I know. Between your scholarship and your tutoring work, you don't exactly have time to be dating anyone. June hesitated, then tilted her head slightly. So, why'd you ask me to come out here? I didn't dance around it. I need Bryn's address. I know you're with the student council, and you probably have access to contact info. Can you give it to me? The moment I said it, she stiffened. What are you planning to do? She asked, eyes wide. Don't do anything reckless, please. She reached out instinctively and grabbed my wrist, stopping me. Looking straight into my eyes, her voice turned serious, quiet, but firm. We don't have much, but we understand the law. Just because someone else did something awful doesn't mean you should throw your future away. Don't let anger make that decision for you." Her words hung in the air between us. I didn't know what to say. Did she think I was about to storm over to Bryn's house and start a war? That I wanted revenge, no matter the cost? This girl thought I'd go down with the ship? June suddenly realized she was still holding my wrist. She let go quickly, her face flushing pink. "You work hard," she said, voice low but sincere. "You really do. You deserve more than what they said back there. I believe that one day, 10 years from now, Bryn's going to regret everything." I smirked. "She won't need 10 years. I already had the dealership appraise the damage. She's going to regret it very soon." June blinked. "Wait, what are you talking about?" I pointed downstairs. "The Ferrari? That's my car." She stared at me like I'd just told her I was an alien. So I explained the whole thing, how the car had ended up in Jace's hands, how Bryn had posed on it like it was hers, and how everything was about to come crashing down. Still, she looked stunned. Only after I pulled out the registration and handed it to her did she finally believe me. She held the document like it might evaporate in her hands, her eyes scanning my name on the title over and over again. By the time she turned to go look up Bryn's contact info, she was practically floating down the hallway. I think she thought she was dreaming. A few minutes later, she sent me Bryn's home address. To my surprise, it was right near the dealership. Well, isn't that convenient? I gave the shop a quick call. They told me someone would deliver the official repair estimate to the address within 10 minutes. Then it hit me. Wait. Bryn gave the phone back. If I want to keep pressing this debt, how am I supposed to reach her? Reluctantly, I turned the phone over in my hand. Sigh. Guess I'll be holding onto it just a little longer. I made my way back to Bryn's dorm room. The second she saw me in the doorway, she rolled her eyes. "What are you doing back here?" I held up the phone. "You don't have one right now. Just borrowing it back to you, use it for a couple of days." Kayla clutched her chest dramatically like she was about to gag. "Ugh, I'm gonna be sick." I knew it. He's playing some pathetic hot and cold game, trying to reel you back in. Bryn looked like she was ready to explode. "Do you actually think I'm that stupid? Just stop, okay? You're embarrassing me in front of everyone." Right then, Kayla's phone buzzed in her hand. She glanced down, confused. "Weird. Bryn, your parents are calling me." I froze. Wow. That was fast. Looked like the dealership didn't waste a second. And since they couldn't reach Bryn, guess who they called next? Bryn grabbed the phone and answered with a puzzled, "Diane? What's going on?" She didn't put it on speaker this time. But it didn't matter, her mom's voice practically exploded through the receiver. "Don't you dare call me Mom. Do you have any idea how much your father and I make? Do you realize what you've done to this family? You've ruined us." The whole room went dead silent. Bryn froze, completely blindsided. I did something wrong," she stammered. She clutched the phone tighter and walked to the corner of the room, her voice getting smaller and smaller as she talked, until, suddenly, her shoulders started shaking. Then came the full-body sob. "Wah!" Kayla rushed over. "Girl, what happened? What's going on?" Bryn gasped between cries, "I know now. I know why Jace flipped on me." She was hysterical. "I sat on the hood of his Ferrari, and now he wants my parents to pay for the damage. The dealership already sent the repair estimate to my house." She broke into fresh sobs. $137,000. $137,000. Where the hell are we supposed to get that kind of money? Even Kayla looked shell-shocked. Wait, what? That can't be right. You just sat on it. It dented from that? Bryn collapsed onto her bed, knees buckling beneath her. They sent a photo of the invoice to my mom. She told me to open the damn phone and look at it myself. Her hands were trembling. Her voice cracked. And for the first time since this whole thing started, the reality finally hit her. Kayla clenched her jaw, thinking hard. Okay, don't panic yet. I might have a way out. Bryn looked up, hopeful. What kind of way? Kayla lowered her voice, eyes darting. At this point, it all depends on whether or not you're pregnant. If you've got his baby, how's he gonna have the nerve to still charge you for car damage? Bryn's eyes widened. Then she started nodding, fast. Right. Even if he doesn't care about me, he'll have to care about the child, right? Kayla lit up. Exactly. If he dares come asking for that repair money, we go straight to his family. 'Cause a scene. Blow it all up. Bryn let out a long, exhausted sigh. I was trying to use this pregnancy to marry into the rich life. Who knew I might have to use it just to pay off a bill? Kayla patted her back, reassuring. Girl, $137,000 is nothing to sneeze at. Your parents would need 2 years to make that much. And who says the marriage plan is off the table? What if Jace's family ends up wanting to do the right thing? Forget the car, maybe you end up as Mrs. Ferrari after all. I had to turn away to keep from laughing. They really thought this was still salvageable? I considered saying something, just a gentle reminder. If Bryn did end up pregnant with Jace's kid, that wouldn't change a damn thing about the repair bill. Because, see, my parents were the ones footing that cost. And I could guarantee, no unborn child, no amount of drama, and no fake fairy tale ending was going to make them waive $137,000. I was just gonna say, I started. But Bryn was already marching toward me, eyes blazing. She snatched the phone out of my hand and snapped, "Don't talk. Just leave. I don't want to hear your voice. I'm already this close to losing it, and you showing up again is pushing me over the edge." Kayla waved her off without even looking at me. Seriously, can you not? We're trying to figure out how to calm Jace down, not babysit your ego. I smiled calmly. Alright, maybe check the document first, then decide if you still want me to leave. Kayla spun toward me, voice sharp and shrill. Get out. You manipulative freak. We've got nothing to say to you. You keep harassing Bryn, and we'll report you. You'll be explaining yourself to a judge, creep. I nodded slowly. Sure, I said. Sounds fair. After all, that's exactly where this was headed anyway. Bryn was already bent over her phone, recording a voice message in full desperation mode. Jace, please. Can you come downstairs to my dorm? Just talk to me. Please, I need to see you. A few seconds later, Jace replied. She hit play. His voice filled the room, sharp and unforgiving. Sure, bitch. I'd love to talk. Get your ass down here. Now. Bryn's hand shook slightly as she lowered the phone. She looked at Kayla, eyes wide with worry. Do you think he'll really forgive me? Kayla adjusted her hair, straightened her shoulders. Only one way to find out. We'll go down together. Just stay calm. Smile. Cry if you have to. Beg him. Kayla helped Bryn to her feet and shot me one last glare. Move. Don't block the door. I didn't bother responding. I turned and left the room, heading downstairs, only to see June already coming back up. Bryn and Kayla brushed past her without a glance, striding ahead of us with the energy of a half-baked mission. June paused beside me, eyes searching my face. In a low voice, she asked, "Are you really going to make Bryn pay all that money?" I shrugged. "Look, I'm not trying to scam her. She owes what she owes. I'm not going to inflate anything." "But..." She tilted her head. "But what?" I gave a small grin. "I think they might have begged the wrong guy. This is probably about to get real awkward." By the time we made it outside, Jace was already waiting by the curb. And the scene? Better than I imagined. He had a red handprint on his cheek, clearly fresh. Tears ran down his face as he stood off to the side, sniffling, trying to wipe his eyes with the sleeve of his hoodie. From the looks of it, someone had already educated him on exactly what he'd done. And if I had to guess, that someone was his dad, Ray. The man might have run a small-time repair shop, but his slaps had the weight of a full-grown V8 engine. Bryn and Kayla stopped in their tracks, totally thrown. Kayla blinked. "Wait, what? Is he crying over a car?" Bryn mumbled, "He really did love that thing. Even when we were out, he wouldn't let me touch the steering wheel. Every time I got in, he told me to watch my heels and not scratch the interior." Kayla sighed, eyes wide. "They say a man's sports car is his second wife. Guess that wasn't a joke." I rolled my eyes. Personally, I've never been the kind of guy to treat a car like a woman. But clearly, Jace just got dumped by both. And really, why wouldn't he be protective? It wasn't even his car. It was mine. Before I could say anything, Bryn rushed up to Jace, eyes full of fake tears. "Baby, please, just let me explain." "Explain? You think I still want to hear it, you filthy liar?" Jace snapped. His whole body shook with rage as he lunged forward, fisting a handful of Bryn's hair and slapping her hard across the face. The crack echoed across the quad. Everyone froze. Even Kayla looked stunned. This was not the outcome they'd rehearsed. "Jace, stop. Please," she shouted, rushing forward to grab his arm. But Bryn, shockingly, didn't even back away. Tears spilled down her cheeks as she choked out, "It's okay. If hitting me makes you feel better, then hit me. It was my fault. I swear I'll make it right, just give me a chance to fix it. I'll spend my whole life making it up to you. I don't want you to fix anything." Jace was beyond reason now. He swung again, fists, this time. A punch landed squarely on her cheekbone. Then another. And another. By the time the third hit landed, even Kayla realized something was deeply, dangerously wrong. The students nearby had gone completely silent. Just an hour ago, Bryn had stepped out of a Ferrari like a movie star. People stared at her like she was living the dream. Now, that same girl was on her knees in the middle of campus, her hair yanked, her lip bleeding, while the guy who'd once made her feel powerful screamed in her face and beat her in front of everyone. "Jesus, Jace. That's enough." Kayla shouted, panicked. "She's a girl, you're hitting her way too hard." But it was already too late. With a sickening crack, Jace's fist smashed into Bryn's face, shattering one of her front teeth. She stumbled back, dazed, blood pooling between her lips. Bryn dropped to her knees, hand over her mouth, staring in disbelief at the tooth on the pavement. Then she spat out more blood and scrambled to pick it up, sobbing, "Stop, please, stop. My tooth is gone. Kayla, help me. Please." I watched calmly and said, "Smart girl. Took a broken tooth to realize things were getting out of hand." June turned to me, eyes wide. "Are you enjoying this?" I gave a half shrug. "Enjoying? No. I mean, we did love each other once. Seeing her like this? Yeah, it stings." June frowned. "Then why are you smiling?" I looked at her, completely sincere. I've always been a smiley person. People say those who smile often tend to get lucky. As Bryn knelt there, toothless and bleeding, something finally clicked. She looked at me, her face twisted in pain and humiliation. "You're not even going to help me?" she screamed. "What kind of man just watches while his ex-girlfriend gets beaten like this?" I met her eyes. "You said it yourself," I replied, calm and deliberate. "If I so much as talked to you again, I'd be guilty of harassment. See you in court, remember?" That's when Jace finally snapped out of his rage long enough to realize I was standing there. He dropped Bryn's arm, his blood-smeared hand trembling slightly, and turned toward me. Face swollen, eyes wild, breathing like a cornered animal. And then, he started walking my way. Kayla rushed forward, desperate to shift the narrative. "Jace, look, I know you're upset, but do you even realize how much Bryn suffered for you? This guy, he's been bullying her non-stop. She only put up with it because she loves you so much. Would she have gone through all this if she didn't care?" Jace snapped his head toward her, eyes bloodshot. "Shut up, you idiot." Kayla flinched and backed away immediately. That was interesting. Just minutes ago, she was snapping at me, full of fire. But in front of her, rich dream guy. Obedient. Quiet. Powerless. Jace turned back to me, his face a mess, smeared with tears, rage, maybe even guilt. I figured he'd come to yell, maybe spit some half-hearted insult. Instead, he dropped to his knees. Right there, in front of the dorms, in front of half the student body. His hands trembled as he wiped his face. "Mason," he sobbed, "I'm sorry. Please. I'm begging you, don't ruin me." For a moment, the world fell silent. You could have heard a pin drop. All around us, people stood frozen, eyes wide, jaws slack. Even the ones who didn't know the backstory, just seeing him, the golden boy of campus, on his knees, crying, was enough to knock the air out of the scene. Kayla's face turned ghost white. Her legs buckled slightly. June said nothing. She just looked down, shoulders stiff. Bryn was still crouched on the ground, holding her bleeding mouth, trying not to choke on her own nosebleed. She sniffed hard, accidentally sucked blood into her throat, then coughed violently. Nobody moved to help her. Because nobody had ever expected things to go like this. Truth be told, even I hadn't expected it to go this far. I let out a quiet sigh and said, "Funny how regret always shows up after the damage is done." Kayla blinked, stunned. "Wait, why are you apologizing to him?" I glanced down at Jace, then looked around at the crowd. "I think that's a good question," I said calmly. "Why don't you tell everyone, Jace? Why are you kneeling here? What exactly are you sorry for?" Jace's shoulders shook as he sobbed into the pavement. "I shouldn't have taken your car. I stole it just to show off. I wanted to impress people. I shouldn't have slept with your girlfriend. I'm disgusting. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me." He sniffed, nearly choking on his own tears. "I told my dad everything. But he said the shop's been drowning under rent and expenses. He has no way to cover the damage. I don't know what to do." I gave him a slow, solemn nod. "Your dad's a good man. I brought my car to your family's shop for service because I respected him. He's honest. Works hard. Never cut corners." Then I looked at Jace and said evenly, "Who could have guessed a father like that would raise this?" Jace collapsed again, shaking. "Please. If there's any way to break the bill into payments, or delay it, I'll do anything. I swear, I'll work it off. Clean floors, beg on the street, I don't care. Just please." Behind him, Bryn stood frozen, blood still drying on her lips. She looked lost. Like her brain was trying to catch up but just couldn't. She whispered, "Wait, what do you mean, the repair shop? What car? What are you talking about?" I turned to her, voice calm. "The facts are right in front of you, Bryn." She lifted a trembling finger and pointed toward the Ferrari. That's your car?" I nodded once. "Yeah," I said. "That's mine." Bryn's face froze. Then her lips began to tremble. A beat later, she broke down in a full sob. "How is it she cried. "How is the rich guy You hand out flyers." I gave a small shrug. "Yeah. I do. For my own businesses." She didn't even seem to hear me. Blood still smeared across her upper lip, her mouth missing a tooth. She stumbled forward, half limping, half collapsing, and grabbed onto my arm. "Baby, please, just let me explain," she begged through tears. I looked down at her hand. Then up at her tear-streaked face. My voice was cold. Unmoved. "I'm not your baby. We broke up. Remember? The repair bill's on its way, so you might want to start figuring that out. And sure, maybe $137,000 doesn't mean much to me. But you know what does interest me?" I leaned in slightly, my voice a whisper just loud enough for her and everyone else to hear. "I want to watch you scramble. I want to see you beg and borrow and sell whatever pride you have left, and still come up short." She let go of me like I'd burned her. I turned toward Jace, placed a hand on his shoulder. He flinched. Swallowed hard. His eyes begged for mercy. I looked him in the eye. "This is your mess," I said calmly. "Not Ray's. Your dad's a good man, probably the only reason I didn't press charges." He blinked, stunned. I nodded slowly. "Actually, you did me a favor. You showed me exactly who Bryn is. Saved me time, money, and years of regret." Then I gave him a hard pat on the shoulder. "So I'll do you a favor too." He held his breath. I continued, "You're graduating next year, right? Fine. Figure out the repayment with the dealership. I'll let you pay it back yourself. In installments. Over 3 years." Jace fell to his knees again, this time not from shame, but sheer relief. Bryn, standing behind him, stared at the pavement like her entire world had just disintegrated. Because it had. "Seriously?" Jace looked up, eyes wide with hope. "You mean it?" I nodded. "Yeah. The debt's yours to carry, not your dad's." "But..." I glanced sideways at Bryn. "You did knock her front tooth out. That's probably going to cost you a bit more." Jace's entire face darkened. "I'm not paying her a single cent," he snapped. "I don't care if the judge gives me jail time or sticks me with a record. I'll take it. Everything that's happened, she caused it." I narrowed my eyes. "You're really saying you'd rather go to prison than compensate her?" He clenched his jaw. "Damn right. A woman like that? Not worth $1. I slapped him on the back with a grin and let out a loud laugh. "There you go. Now you're getting it. I'll knock $1,000 off your debt. Consider it a reward for finally growing a spine." Behind us, Bryn was frozen in place, lips parted in disbelief. She started crying again. "Baby, please. I was wrong, okay? Just give me one more chance. I'll do anything. Please." She spun around and pointed at Kayla, shrieking, "It's her fault. She ruined everything." Kayla didn't say a word. She just stood there, pale and silent, like her soul had quietly left the room. Bryn was spiraling now, voice shaking with rage. "You're the one who told me to do all this. I loved my boyfriend. I loved him so much, so why did I listen to you? I didn't stick around for the rest of her breakdown. Honestly, I'd had enough of her performance for a lifetime. I looked at Bryn one last time and said flatly, "Don't forget to take your birth control. I'm not saying that for your sake, I just know the kind of person you are. If you really got pregnant, there's no way you'd take care of that kid properly. And this world doesn't need another child growing up with the kind of values you have." In that moment, the light completely drained from her face. She stood there, silent, frozen, like her soul had finally caught up with the damage she'd done. Then Kayla broke down. Tears spilled over as she turned toward Bryn, panicked. "Wait, the money I helped you borrow, you're not really gonna leave me with that debt, are you?" Bryn's expression hardened. She sneered. "After everything you did to me? Why should I pay you back?" Kayla's mouth dropped open. Then she let out a full-on wail. "You don't understand. If I don't pay them back, I'll get beat to death. I have to repay that loan." I glanced at her and said casually, "Well, if you're scared of loan sharks, maybe don't borrow from them." Kayla sobbed harder. "But I don't have $20,000. That's when June finally snapped. Her fists clenched at her sides, her voice shaking with anger. "Oh, now you wanna cry?" she spat. "You mocked me for eating leftover food off a table, but you don't even have $20,000 to your name. You're just as broke as the rest of us. You're not better than anyone. You're just another arrogant coward who bullies people because you're scared of being seen for what you really are." Kayla collapsed onto the ground, shaking and bawling uncontrollably. There was no crowd anymore. Just consequences. Just truth. I looked at Bryn one last time, smiling coolly. "Goodbye. And from now on, unless it's about repaying what you owe me, don't contact me. Otherwise, I'll report you for harassment." Then I turned to June. "So, now that karma's been served, wanna go grab dinner to celebrate?" "My treat. I'll drive." June stared at me like I'd grown a second head. "Are you drunk?" she asked. "Why would I get in your car? Why would I have dinner with you?" "Fair point." I scratched the back of my neck, suddenly awkward. Yeah, that came out wrong. I slid into the driver's seat of my Ferrari, shut the door, and peeled out, leaving the wreckage behind me. As for Bryn and Jace, their families eventually struck a deal, split the damages 50-50. Rumor had it Bryn's parents didn't just yell when they got the bill, they snapped. She got a brutal beating, and worse, they broke her leg in the process. No exaggeration. The cast was real. Word spread that her leg hadn't set right, and doctors were talking about re-breaking it to fix the healing. She didn't come back for her final year of college. Maybe the shame was too much. Or maybe she just couldn't walk through campus with a limp and a missing tooth. Kayla did return. But she couldn't walk 5 feet without someone whispering behind her back, mocking her, reminding her of her luxury car influencer moment, and the loan shark debt that followed. Desperate for money, she tried applying for jobs all over town. Didn't matter. Everyone knew who she was. And no one wanted to hire her. In the end, with nowhere left to go, Kayla came crawling back. She showed up at one of my restaurants near campus, eyes puffy, tone meek. Begging for a job. Turns out, I had a few openings. So I hired her. To clean the bathrooms. She used to sneer at poor people, mock those who struggled. So I figured the irony would be fitting, let her scrub toilets for the very people she used to look down on. Word got around fast. Kayla, once the girl who bragged about riding in a Ferrari, was now mopping floors and disinfecting stalls. Some students even made a game out of it, waiting until she finished cleaning just so they could use the restroom and force her to do it all over again. As for Bryn, after she dropped out, she started texting me. A lot. Begging to get back together. Whenever I blocked her, she'd just switch numbers and start again. Eventually, I gave her exactly what she'd once threatened me with. I filed a harassment report. That shut her down for good. June, though. Nothing ever really happened between us. She was a different kind of person, strong, disciplined, self-respecting. The kind who didn't need anyone to validate her worth. She didn't reach out once during our final year. After graduation, I heard she joined Teach for America. Said she wanted to help kids in underfunded rural schools, give them what she never had. I admired that. I reached out a few times, casually. She responded, kindly but distant. Her heart was elsewhere. The only time she ever contacted me directly was to ask if I could help organize a clothing drive, donating used clothes for families in need. I packed up a few bags and sent them off. We never spoke again after that. But I still remember what she once told me. A person should have dignity, even when they have nothing. That girl, she was something else. Wherever she is now, I hope her path has been wide. And her footsteps light.